and welcome to the Sage Advice series presented by Crum Consulting. Today we'll be talking with Kara from Healthy Minds. So I'd like to know how you started out in the beginning, what sparked your passion. Give us a little intro to you before we actually dive into the questions.
Sure. So Healthy Minds is a client-centered practice. So we focus a lot on guiding our clients, individuals, families, you know, children, adults through their journey in exploring and becoming the best version of themselves. So really supporting them in identifying where they want to go and goals they want to achieve and kind of supporting them through that progress. Back in high school, I guess I had my first taste of um, peer counseling, where you would just meet with other high schoolers and talk with them about challenges they were facing, if they needed some support and things like
Oh,
that, helping them
that's
out.
cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And so it was something I was interested in and I enjoyed it. And then I kind of didn't do anything else with it for a while. I really liked my psych classes in college, but again, it wasn't like a focus. And then as I progressed through my college career, I really just kind of identified how much I enjoyed psychology and understanding the mind and how people think and understand things. So, um, as I started taking more of those classes, it was just something I steered myself toward. And then in graduate school, I really felt like I made the right decision because I really enjoyed that time, albeit very challenging in those classes.
Yeah, I
But
can imagine.
yeah, as I sort of uncovered what I really wanted to do, it really allowed me to spend time doing things I enjoy. And then I really like working with kids because I really felt like, kids can't always speak for themselves or they don't know how to express things
Yeah.
themselves. So the opportunity to really dive in with a child, figure out what's going on and how we can help them was very rewarding because I felt like I could help people understand and help a child discover their strengths and what they were capable of.
You found that passion for working with children during your time in grad school, or was that something that came a little later?
No, it was definitely and I kind of a direction I thought I was going to go
Mm.
before grad school. And then it just continued. It was like, okay, this is really what I like. And I continued down that path. There is one kid that stands out. I don't know if I'd say it was an aha moment, but a big question that I always get from parents, and I was unsure of early on in my career, was as I worked with kids with ADHD, the big question is medication. And do you try medication? Do you not want to try medication? And are you putting these kids in a box? Um, and I was always and still am very cautious about encouraging parents to consider medication because I want them to think about alternatives first.
Mhm.
But I vividly remember a kid who was probably between the ages of 8 to 10 at the time. This was a long time ago, early on in my career, who had significant ADHD. And parents tried medication, and we spent a couple of sessions. I was doing therapy with him, and we spent a couple of sessions talking about what do you think about taking medicine and how do you like that? And he was able to articulate well enough how much he liked taking the medication because it felt like he was more able to think and process new things and focus in class and take in new information.
Mm.
Um, and so
Very
for me,
exciting things.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it was very much a turning point in my thinking about how to support families with that because it was like, wow, this really made a big difference for that kiddo. How can I help parents see that
Yeah.
it's absolutely a hard decision to make and everybody needs to make their own choice that's right for their family. But for some
Mhm.
kids, it's really a game changer for them.
I
So,
can imagine, yeah.
yeah,
If I had tried medication at a younger age, if I knew I had ADHD at a younger age, I can
right,
only imagine just how limitless everything will suddenly feel, especially with schoolwork and
right.
peers, because it definitely affects your life a lot in those areas.
Yes. Yeah. So to have a kid say that really made a big difference for me,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
yeah, to hear his perspective.
Maybe a little more on your personal journey with Healthy Minds. What your growth throughout like starting your business looked like.
Okay. So
Cool.
I started my practice. Um, it was just me and a friend of mine, an occupational therapist, and we developed really out of the need of the community. There weren't a lot of, we have training in multidisciplinary assessments, and there weren't a lot of people over in this area who have experience doing that, which is specialists collaborating together to create comprehensive assessments for kids. And it really helps when you have perspective of different professionals because everybody has their own lens that they look through,
Yeah.
and sees a problem and understands a problem or a challenge that a kid is having differently. So it's really helpful to have everybody's perspective all together, and it puts together a really unique puzzle for that child,
Hmm.
um, to really guide them in getting whatever services or support they would most benefit from. So that's how we started. And then, over time, it was always something that I wanted to do was to grow the practice, collaborate with other specialists, provide a safe environment for people to come to where they could just be themselves. No judgment. It was just comfortable. Um, while I'm a psychologist, I didn't want it super like doctor's office-y, I just
Yeah.
wanted it to feel like a safe, comfortable place where they felt like they could be whoever they are. So that's what I feel like we've really grown into, and we've expanded even outside of seeing kids. We see adults now individually, um, and support parents, and then offer groups and assessment. So it's really grown and blossomed into something that I think the kids and individuals really enjoy coming to because they feel safe and they feel seen, um,
Hmm.
and they feel like they can really be themselves.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
know finding a practice is really difficult.
Yeah.
There's so many out there and you just never know what you're going to get. So it
Right.
is really cool that you have that goal and that you see adults too.
Yes.
That actually did bring another question
Sure.
into my mind.
Yeah.
Um, is do you find that there is a huge difference in what your patients need to be seen or feel heard between children and adults?
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
What I have found is that sometimes kids, even teens, right? It seems like they try and act cool and mature outside, and then they come in and they see us, and a lot of them enjoy coloring or just playing a game and being more kid-like because they can. They don't have to put on a facade and be somebody else, right? No need to act or put on a show. Um, and sometimes adults will do the same, right? There's those new coloring books. I guess they're not so new anymore, but the adult coloring books, right? There's something soothing about just doing something calm like that that's reflective and takes us back to sometimes to childhood. Um, and being mindful about how we're feeling and just relaxing into that. There are some differences, but I think overall there is a lot of similarities in that we all just need a safe, quiet place where we can be heard and be ourselves without feeling like we have to be something else, whatever that might be, or
No
whatever.
societal pressures.
Exactly.
That's really cool. I mean, you get
Yeah.
to see people at their most authentic form, it seems like.
Yes. Yeah, that's certainly our goal.
Running a business while supporting families emotionally, it's
Mhm.
a lot to juggle, I can
Yes.
imagine. How do you navigate that balance?
So I think the big thing, and it's funny, I was just preparing for another session, and this fits perfectly into what I was going to talk to these kids about, is that sometimes your best that day isn't always 110%, that you just do as much as you can every day, and that everybody's just doing as much as they can, right? And sometimes
Yeah,
that's going to be every ounce of your being goes into everything. And sometimes it's going to be, I am doing as much as I can and I can only do 50% today, and that's okay. Balancing is a work in progress. And every day it's a little bit different. And sometimes, you're going to be leaning one way or another more. Your family needs you more, and sometimes your work needs you more, and you
yeah,
just have to do the best you can. Um, and that sometimes something's going to drop and you can't always do everything all the time, but
yeah.
it's hard, and it's certainly lessons that I'm still working on. and things that I'm still learning because it's a very hard thing to balance.
Yeah.
But I just try to take care of myself and take breaks, um, plan ahead. That helps too, kind of to have the best idea of what's coming next. What do I need to be ready for? What should I be prepared for?
Remembering that we're all human.
Yes, including ourselves. And I really try hard to remember that everybody's just doing the best that they can, generally. Um,
Yes.
and, you know, we don't know everybody's full story. They might be having a really hard day today,
Yeah.
and we just have to meet everybody where they're at.
The next question kind of goes into neurodivergence, and inclusivity. As someone who champions neurodivergent affirming practices, what's one actionable thing you'd encourage other business owners, like as a whole, not just in therapy, to do to create more inclusive spaces for neurodiverse people? Because the world's really not built for brains like
No,
ours.
no, it's not. Um, I think, it kind of goes to what I was just speaking of, is understanding that everybody's generally doing the best they can,
Yeah.
right? And that we all think about things differently, and we might all need different things to get our work done. And so sometimes flexibility in the workplace is really important. And when you can have flexible work hours or flexible settings or built-in breaks and opportunities to, stand at a desk rather than always sitting all the time. Even something as simple as that, or having fidgets around and people can move between different spaces can make a big difference for a lot of people. Even allowing different communication styles can be really helpful, right? So there are people that our culture in our world has such a great emphasis on verbal communication, and some people are as articulate verbally, and assumptions are made about them if they aren't speaking as clearly or sharing everything as, verbally as
Mhm.
well as we might want them to. But in fact, sometimes those people are the most creative thinkers and the people that do other things really well. And so allowing people to share their knowledge in different ways can be really effective. You don't want to
Yeah.
lose out on someone's creative ideas just because they can't give you a 1 hour verbal presentation on it with a PowerPoint. Maybe they can write about it. How can we access people's knowledge in different ways? So just, excuse me, flexibility, I think, is a big thing.
I like
Understanding
that.
that
Yeah.
everybody expresses themselves differently, everybody might have different needs.
It makes sense that freedom is just kind of what everyone needs.
It is. And
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that can be so frustrating, is that um, everyone would benefit from it. You know, like
Yes.
it's not like only neurodivergent people would benefit from these strategies. Every single human can
Mhm.
benefit from this. And so why not? It's not going to be harmful. It's certainly not going to hurt anyone to have these flexible options. So why not
Yeah.
present them as an opportunity for everybody? And of course, rules are important, right? And there's
Yes.
certain times where things have to be a certain way, and I get that, I accept that. But sometimes it's just because that's how it's always been,
Yeah.
and that's not really a great reason,
Hmm.
you know?
Totally agree.
Yeah.
What would your sage advice be?
Um, I think two things. One, knowing that everything will eventually work out, that it's not always an easy road, but um, you'll get there eventually, and to not be afraid to try new things, right? Just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean it's a bad idea. And so sometimes it's just that nobody's thought of it or nobody's been brave enough to try it. So we have to not be afraid to think outside the box and try something different. Um, and with all business, it seems that there's like ebbs and flows. Sometimes things are great and sometimes things are really hard. And just knowing that eventually it will work out and it will get better and it will improve. You just have to keep pushing through and keep trying.
I like that. Keep your
Yeah.
passion.
Yeah.
That was very insightful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad we were
Yeah,
finally able to make this work. So,
me too.
yeah.
And it was fun. It was really nice meeting you.
Yes, it was nice meeting you too.
To find out more about Kara and Healthy Minds, you can check out Healthy Minds, Cal, CAL.com.